if our interests are threatened, we're going to do it.
Of the planet Omicron Persei 8. Turn down the TV and now then, we will begin with the firemen, then the math teachers, and so on in that fashion until everyone is eaten. Transmission over.
Conspiracy theorists really believe that if they get the COVID vaccine that it'll be chipped and the government will track them. Baby, you guys have phones. The government already knows where you're at. You get customized advertisements based on where you go and your location. And also, how are you eating like Jack in the Box and you're worried about what's in the vaccine? No, I don't get it.
I think it's so stupid when people are like, the government's watching you. You got to cover up your webcam and your cell phone camera. Like, the government is not watching me. I'm not that important. There's no reason for them to watch me. This guy I just heard the other day was like, watch your back. I'm like, I'm watching my back. There's nothing there, dude. Conspiracy theorists, put your tinfoil hats back on because the government's not doing anything.
Let me just say I don't believe in conspiracy theory, however, these documents are highly alarming.
Run.
It's no longer just about who gets to vote or making it easier for eligible voters to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote. Who gets to count whether or not your vote counted at all. It's no longer
Well, now that I've got my COVID vaccine, or at least the first dose, I have a couple questions about the compatibility of this new tracker. Does it have Bluetooth capabilities with the tracker that I carry around everywhere and do my TikToks on, or the tracker that I wear on my wrist, or the tracker that I drive around in? I just want to know if I can make the devices talk to each other so that maybe I could use my new tracking device as a speaker, and then maybe I wouldn't have to have my wrist tracking device. Couple of questions. Also, based on another QAnon theory, I'm also waiting for my super gay to kick in because I'm already pan. So, based on some theories, I should have super gay powers by the end of this entire situation. I'm so excited.
Yes. You so crazy. I think I want it.
So, I don't know if you guys are into conspiracy theories, but I sure the hell am. So, I was sitting at the pool the other day and I got a perfect example of chemtrails. And the conspiracy is that chemtrails are used to spread chemicals that are potentially harmful to the environment and can have cancerous effects. Some people even believe that it might be for weather modification and population control. But regardless of you believe, I found a perfect example. So, as you can see, the chemtrails that I just videotaped spread out completely into a cloud. What the heck? This is probably 35 minutes later, and now it's a full-ass cloud. And I was at the pool all day, so here's 5 hours later when I found another one. And I even got a clip of it changing course and leaving a whole chemtrail. What? Oh, and here's just a normal plane. That has no chemtrail at all. Oh, look, another chemtrail. And this is probably 30 minutes after I showed those cross chemtrails. This is fucking nuts.
Creepiest Declassified Government Files, Part 2.
Operation Northwoods, a plan for a false flag operation that came from the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Department of Defense in 1962 and given to JFK, who turned it down. The plan called for the CIA to commit terrorist actions against U.S. civilians across the United States and frame Cuba, allowing us the right to invade and depose Castro and the communist government there. It was declassified and can be found online at the JFK Library. Terrifying that no one knows or seems to care that this was suggested by our government to the president.
What conspiracy theories are too logical to be ignored? Part 12.
The government intentionally fuels the racial divide in America. The more you all keep fighting amongst yourselves and looking at each other as the enemy, the more they get away with effing you all over with little to no consequences. As Carlin says, now to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences, cause that's all you ever hear about in this country, is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about. The things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society.
What conspiracy theories are too logical to be ignored? Part 20.
That King Arthur's legend was a technological discovery. The sword from the stone was the discovery of natural iron, instead of the bog iron previously used for weapons. The Lady of the Lake was the discovery of quenching, which makes metal stronger. So by the Lady of the Lake helping them pull the sword from the stone, smelt iron weapons, and quench them, they allowed Arthur and his army, this superior weapons, to conquer England and become king. Remember when they had kids fingerprinted and photographed in case they were kidnapped? That was an easy way for the government to start a database of citizens while being publicly accepted. Even Disney parks use fingerprint scans to get in with multi-day passes. Universal Studios and Six Flags use fingerprints too, and it's kinda creepy. Not to forget all of our biometric security, aka databases with detailed fingerprint and facial scans of everyone who has a smartphone.
I honestly can't understand people that think COVID's a massive government conspiracy to control the world population. Like, the government can't even fill in the potholes in the road out the front of my house. It's just a small step up to orchestrate a global pandemic so you can vaccinate everyone and install microchips into their brain.
Question: did anybody else's TV do some kind of weird broadcast thing, and it said something like this? Sacrifice children? Kill? I'm super confused and I'm super worried. Anybody have an explanation? Here is the whole thing. Well, most of it. It just keeps repeating that same thing over and over and over again. I'm mostly concerned about the sacrifice child part and the kill part. I'm not quite sure what you're going to expose, but just so I can prove I'm not lying, I'll screenshot. This is from one of my local Facebook groups. You can go here and search it. I blocked out people's names for privacy reasons because they didn't ask to be on this. She asked, pause and read. R said kill, possess, child sacrifice. Pause and read. I got this, but I'm in New York right now. I got it and hit select. So a lot of other people besides me have gotten it. So no, I'm not spreading BS, and I really don't know what you're going to expose.
I'm the victim of shame. You're throwing me in a class with a bad name. I can't believe this is the land from which I came. You know I really don't hate to sin. The government don't wanna see. But if Roosevelt was living, he wouldn't let this be. No, skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation, speculation, everybody litigation. Beat me, bash me, you can never trash me. Hit me, kick me, you can never get me. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
From around the world, no matter how daft they might seem. And on this episode, the shadow government. Now I was quite surprised to find out how many people actually believe in this theory. And to a certain extent, I kind of believe in it. But I don't think I believe it fully. So a lot of people believe these big government officials like Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, Joe Biden and all that kind of stuff are just a massive front for the true government, or the shadow government. These people make rules for war, finances, the country, the land, and all that stuff. They basically do what we think our presidents and prime ministers do. But the people we see are literally just puppets to the puppet master. Some people actually go to the certain extent that there is only actually one government for the entire world, or the New World Order. So what do you guys think? All a front, or is there actually a shadow government? Let me know in the comments.
This South Park episode was ahead of its time.
We cannot be a country that appears war-hungry and violent to the rest of the world. However, we also cannot be a country that appears weak and unwilling to fight to the rest of the world. So, what if we form a country that appears to want both.